structures, their own homes. They were able to start businesses. They were able to invest huge because there was that environment that was free. There was that environment that was friendly in terms of them even accessing loans. And such is the case this morning. That is what people are looking forward. They say it's not been an easy reign with the President Uhuru Kenyatta, especially when it comes to the question of access of credit. But then again, the future is bright. And as people talk of the economy, as they look at it as, you know, an election that is bound to give us that emancipation, we also do not forget that if the economy is running well, then investment becomes an easy thing for us. And so as we get to this conversation alongside George Mburu, who is the CEO of Mizizi Africa Homes Limited, I think when you hear that name, then it tells you hugely we'll be talking investment, but investment in the world of housing. George Mburu, after a very long time,
Sure.
Karibu sana on set.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you as well. Thank you so much for creating time. And we're looking forward to have a government that is going to make the environment favorable for us to have investment. And when we're talking about investment, we understand very well that real estate, you know, housing is at the heart of it.
Sure. Yeah, thank you very much. And as you have said, we are in an election year.
Yeah.
And we are looking forward to have a new government. And we are hoping that the government will also look into the housing agenda, which was one of the big four agendas by the previous the current administration, the Jubilee administration, which is the outgoing. And for me, what I can encourage people is to come out and vote in huge numbers so that we can have the best person, because so far it has been reported 22 million registered voters.
Yeah.
And after the election, the other thing that we also need to look at is a part of the opposition as well. I think some of the challenges we have had is because we do not have a good opposition or a structured way that the government can also be put in check. So you find that if the government is unopposed, sometimes even the policies that comes in place or they had set maybe to do, nobody really cares like to follow up. Like you'll see the Jubilee administration, they had the big four agendas, housing was one of them. At the moment, nothing much has been done. And you find if we had an opposition that maybe would have made the Jubilee administration accountable, maybe you would have more answers, like how is it that you have told us 500,000 units you are going to do by the time you are done. And you find that over that period, even without waiting for the last year to now to take the stock and complain, maybe somebody would be updating where are we, and somebody keeps the government on check, so that the manifestos that the government comes up with, the manifestos that people vote into, like Jubilee administration was voted because of the big four agendas.
Yeah.
So it is high time we as a people, and we also have a strong opposition. Like you can look at a country like the USA. Yeah. You see they have a Republican and they also have a Democrat, the Democrat. So you find the Democrat, once they take position, the Republican are always, they are keeping them in check, and you find it makes them active. So the role of also the opposition as we go into the election is the high time that we look into it, the role of making the government accountable, because it is something that has been missing. We're always looking at having the president being in power, but then again, once the people get in power, that's when now favor comes in. People give the people that they know. You find a majority, and you'll be surprised. A majority are the people who are going to lose. For example, you hear a certain post has 5 or more candidates that are fighting for, but only one will win. So the majority of them are going to be to lose, and those people, if they can join hands, not to oppose the government per se, but to keep it in check, to see you promised us this, and for sure it is good because the majority of the people they voted you in because of that manifesto. But now we also need to keep you in check. This manifesto, where are we? Year in, year out. We do not have to wait for the last year. And that is why we have mechanisms even to get people out of posts if they are not delivering. Yeah, so I think we also need to think broadly as a people and as a country. And I'm sure by so doing, we are going to change our politics, we are going to change our country, our economy, and our lives by extension.
Okay. At the heart of the Big Four agenda is on the question of housing.
Sure.
And you are in this sector.
Yeah.
And the government has hugely pushed for the cooperation of the private and also the public entities towards the success for this. In your own small analysis, would you agree with the majority of people who say that we have not achieved so much in terms of the question of housing and what it is that the Big Four agenda then envisioned?
Sure. Yeah, thank you very much. There's a saying that goes, numbers never lie. So if you look at the statistics, if you look at the numbers, for sure we have fallen short of the goals we had achieved. And you have also mentioned about the private partnership or private individuals being involved, private companies and such, which is something that is very crucial and very important. We need to loop in the private developers and the private people who are interested in doing affordable housing, and also look at affordable housing keenly, because again we may look at affordable housing and also miss the point, because when you're talking about affordable housing, we need to focus mostly with the people who are getting those homes as a first-time home and not as an investment. We need to separate the social housing as well as affordable housing. That is very important, because when you are talking of social housing, we want to house the basic, somebody who needs their first-time home. And that home is a home that is good, conducive for living. Let's say if you have children, at least they have their bedrooms, you have water, you have electricity, and that should not be taken as a luxury, because it's a need that many people need. And if many people can be assisted to have that social home, the first time homeowners are assisted by the government, and we actually do not even concentrate on the second time, because now those are people who are already somehow established. So if we focus by giving the people who do not have their first homes, and sometimes back there was a bill that was talking about first-time homeowners, and I think that is an agenda, a question that we need to revisit, so that we can assist the people who are having their homes for the first time, because once you have your first home, you are not paying rent, you're able to have peace of mind, you're able to work even more, you're able to get more earnings, and when you do that, you're able to get your second house, third house, and fourth house, and those houses are now what we call the investment. Because the first one is just basic, it is for housing yourself, and again, you can have it wherever you are because of work, you can put it up for renting. It's still considered as your first house, but you put it in renting, then you're able to, this house pays for you, for where you are living. So everybody needs to have a home, at least one.
All right, allow us to take a quick short break. And I know there's so much yet to look at, and one would want to ask, why have several homes? Why not invest on one and make the best out of it? Others will tell you, what, set up a structure, rent it out, you rent another nice one for yourself, and all this, ways of making sure that we survive, I think are very, very important that we look at. But that should be after this break.
Despite being visually impaired, he is a jack of all trades. It is our quest to find answers on how to take care of children with special needs and those with disability. You do not need to see musical notes to understand music, but rather to have your soul feel the vibe.
Actually, for us to make a wheelchair, we have to take measurements of the user.
After doing my assessment, I get to know the parent, I get to know the heaviness she's carrying.
Disability comes at different stages of life.
How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates. Baraza la Siasa.
Hiyo kitu azungumzie, angalie hali ya maisha ya watu.
Informative health discussions. Business. Farming. Tasty Wednesday Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs,
waimbaji, kuna comedians, alafu kuna wajinga,
and music bands every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. The next set of millionaires are farmers. As we know, agriculture has been and still is the backbone of our economy. As we traverse the different counties to meet different farmers, we ensure to get the story of how they started farming and even how they continue to penetrate the market and overcome the challenges.
Hapa, the reason why nilieka goose na si ducks. Goose, they are very easy to maintain.
A lot of farmers keep on calling, inquiring whether you're supposed to raise some seeds in the nursery or you're supposed to do them directly in the field.
The greenhouse helps us control the temperature because the temperature needs to be between 28 to 32 degrees.
Walk this journey with us every Sunday at 6:30 p.m.
Asking, George, whether he believes in some of these promises that are presented to us by, the presidential candidates, because it's at the heart of this conversation that we have the right leaders. And so when we're looking forward to, credits, like a good space where people can be able to access credit, definitely we know that we're talking about housing. And I think you have been here once and told us that, we should not all wait until we have money, like you're waiting for 3 million so that you can now come to Mizizi Africa Homes and get that structure. You might never be lucky enough to get that. And therefore, when we're talking about investment in the aspect of housing, then again, access to loans, access to credit is at the heart of this. It is critical. When you listen to these leaders that are speaking to us, and I do not want or intend to turn you into a politician, do you feel that, there is some hope for Kenya?
Sure. Yeah, thank you very much. For sure there is hope for Kenya because now, unlike in the previous years, there's so much information, and information is power. Yeah. So we as a people, it is high time we do not entirely rely on the politicians because what politicians can give us most of the times are handouts because the handouts cannot help you in the long run. So what we need to do is for us now to learn from the past and also take it up and implement. I'll give you an example, like the Jubilee administration when it was campaigning. We had been promised heaven because you remember the big four agendas. Agricultural, we are going to be very sufficiently stable in terms of food. In terms of manufacturing, we are going to have manufacturing industries all over. Youth are going to be employed. We are going to have housing, which was also part of creating the employment. We are going to have good health care for everybody. Will be able to access medicine. But we will find 5 years down the line, as much as there was that promise, but really we can't say for sure we are very satisfied. So what did we not do? We did not put the government to task. You told us this, and that is why we gave you this job. So during the interview, and the manifestos are somehow the interview, you bring to us, this is what you can perform, this is how you are going to perform. Then after you get the job, nobody, even the employer who is now the voter, the employer now also now awaits for fate for this person that we have given the job for them to deliver. And we as the people, because we have been given the mandate by the constitution, we have the power. The power is in our hands. Right. So it is high time we continue with the same spirit, informing the masses, informing the public, informing people, and like for example this opportunity, giving people like us, Mizizi Africa Homes Limited, such a chance so that we can talk with Kenyans, and at the end of the day the buck stops with us. It does not stop with the government. It stops with us. The government can only tell us these are the plans that we have, and for us it is to see these plans, are they good? Yes, if they are good, we give those people that we trust or we see with good manifestos, we give them the opportunity. Then from there we do not now wait for another 5 years again now to start crying. We need now to follow up. We have given you this job because of this mandate that we gave you. You told us we are going to do. So we need to see in terms of policies. For example, the issue of like housing. what policies are you putting in place to ensure that this agenda now has come into being? And exactly what do you mean? Like, for example, now there is, let's say, for example, bottom-up, which is very famous.
Yeah.
Bottom-up. What is that? Explain to us in a language that we can understand,
right,
so that by the time now we give you that mandate, we'll be able now to come and start questioning. You told us this. You told us you are going to do this. Then we follow up, and it doesn't have to wait for 5 years. If we see we are able to, you are accountable enough, and you tell us this is the far we have come, and it's a 1 year down the line, and we feel like you have been shortchanged, we can decide to look for another alternative. Yeah, so we the people, because we are the people with the power, we need to take that power in our hands,
right,
put our leaders into accountability levels, so that they can account for their word. They do not come and promise, then 5 years down the line they come and promise other promises, 5 years down other promises, because at the end of the day we are growing old, we are having children that are growing old, and at the end of the day we need to have a stable country. We need to have a country whereby people are happy to visit, there is security, people are happy to invest, people are happy to live at the end of the day.
All right, Billy Korir is watching this morning, says, Linda, could you let George tell us what available options are there for someone who would want to get a cheap housing in Mizizi Africa Homes? And I'm sure we're going to get into that, but perhaps Billy would be wishing to step out, so maybe briefly on what is available right now.
Sure, thank you very much. For us, Mizizi Africa Homes Limited, we have embraced the issue of affordable housing, and it's something that is very dear to our heart. And at the moment, we have projects that are very affordable. We have one called Asali Estate that is located along Kangundo Road, and we are selling it at only 3.95 million if you pay in cash, or 4.25 million if you pay installment. You pay an initial deposit of 2 million, then from there you make an monthly installment as we do the construction. We also have houses that are in Diani, Kwale County. We have Kwangu Estate that we are selling at only 5.25 million if you pay in cash, or 5.5 if you pay installment. You pay 2 million, balance you pay in 10 to 12 monthly installments. You will find that these houses, they are very affordable if you compare with others, and if you look at the return on investment that you'll be getting on those houses. And we welcome you to come, we join hands. We normally listen, we are very listening. You come, you tell us, you may not have the initial deposit that we have quoted, but you may have this and this amount. And we are going to hold your hands. We work together, because we in Mizizi, we say we hold hands and we together build a solid foundation, so that our dreams can come from dream to reality. And this can only be done when people work together, without having to look at what the government can do for us, because you find most people say, what will the government do for us? Let's now ask ourselves, what can we do for ourselves, as we also wait for the government to do something. Because with the bureaucracies in the government, you will find something that can be done very fast by maybe somebody who is a private developer or something, may take years. Like you see the affordable housing, 500,000 units, and so many people had booked, but only few delivered. And again, the issue of corruption in our country, so you find those people, even who are those who deserve, they do not get it. So come to us, Mizizi Africa Homes Limited. Let us work together. Let's believe in God. Let's believe in ourselves, and we walk the journey together. Yes.
All right. How do they get a hold of you? Very important.
Very true. To get a hold of us, you can give us a call on 020-790-2215. That's 020-790-2215, or you can call us or WhatsApp us on 0742-112215. That is 0742-112215, or you can visit us in our offices. We are located in Westlands, right opposite Sarit Center. You will find us, Mizizi Africa Homes Limited. And again, you can visit all our social media platforms, Mizizi Africa Homes, in YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all over. Yes.
All right. Well, and time moves very fast. I am told that in about a minute or two, then we should be out of this space. To those ones that really fear getting into loans, you know, loans that would accord them, you know, housing.
Yes.
They say in the long run, if you look at the amount of money that you pay, you know, to service this loan, it's not then affordable housing. It turns out to be something else. What would you tell them?
Yeah, thank you very much. And we as Mizizi Africa Homes Limited, our encouragement is let us start early. Let us start planning early to have a home, because, for example, if you can get a small land anywhere, then with the time the land appreciates and you sell that one, you're able to get your money and invest in maybe a house like you're talking about in Mizi Africa Homes Limited, even without having to take a loan, because again, we know with the loans comes a lot of interest, and again, if your income ends, you find that you'll have stress, banks calling you so much. So we do not really encourage actually people to take loans if you do not have to, but if you are doing it as an investment and you know that investment will give a good return, or will be able to pay for itself. Once you have gotten your first house, you are not paying rent, I can encourage you, take a loan, come invest with us, Mizi Africa Homes Limited. After 1 year, resell the house, get something, repay your loan, then you continue that way. Or you can have your house that like we have for the coast, we are targeting mostly Airbnb. You can have that house servicing itself. You'll just pay for that loan for a very short time. Then from there, the investment that you have made will be able to cater for itself. So that is the encouragement for your first time home. Do the savings, purchase plots here and there, then resell. Then you are able to make a good amount of money. Get your first house. You are not paying rent. You do not have the stress. Then from there you can take a loan to get your investment. Because the mistake people make is you get a loan to buy something that is not generating an income. So you find that it gives you a lot of stress, and you find at the end of the day you have not solved the problem.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, George, for speaking to us. George Mburu is the CEO of Mizizi Africa Homes Limited. It was nice having you. In such a short time, we have to close this, but I'm sure you have something that you've taken home. Billy, I hope your answer or your question has been answered, and therefore check them out, Mizizi Africa Homes, for more details on how best you can invest in the world of real estate, or better yet, how you can have your own house, you know, in most of the cheapest forms available. Asante sana.